Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, October 3rd, 2022. Yep, it's October, and I'm glad. The weather's nice cool temperatures, humidity's down. Nothing to complain about, really. I mean, it's hard to beat this kind of weather this time of year. And of course, we'll get through winter. It'll all start over again. We know how this goes. Cools down, gets cold, spring comes, it warms up, gets hot. Yeah, same thing. So we might as well enjoy this while we can and try to get as much done as we can around the garage. I know you've probably seen, I would assume most of you have seen the last video I put up on the 56 gasser, and that all went well. It's assembled, made it down the road. It's been delivered. So I hope he gets started on it pretty soon and can make some good progress on it. I would like to be able to make another video on that car, assembled and running and all that sort of thing. But, time will tell, and I understand there are situations that can slow down the process. So now that I have that up and out of the way, if you're new to this, if you've just been showing up and checking out this live stream, we focus on classic cars. And when I say classic cars, I mean 55 up to about 79, 80, maybe somewhere in that range. And we try to talk about, stuff going on with these cars. We may have some problems or issues or questions. And if you do have a question about a car of that era, I ask that you participate. Ask a question. If you do, I give you a bow. Yep, that's how it works. Also, if I get a good answer, whether it's from me or my panel over here on the left, they do a great job of answering the questions that I can't seem to get to or come up with an answer. So I appreciate everybody that does all that. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope we have a good chat tonight. I do want to start off by saying it was a sad day. To be quite honest, we had to put down our dog today. She was 15 years old, and she'd been struggling for the last several months, getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And today the decision was made that it was time for her to go. So she had to pass on, and it's all good. We all know if we have pets that sort of thing happens. We put down, 3 or 4 or 5 dogs over the years, and it never gets easier. They're part of the family for the most part. And, she was 15 and she'd put in, many good years. Great dog to have around the house and warn us if somebody came to the house. She'd bark real good and all that sort of thing. But her time was up, and we're all going to be there someday. Our time will be up. So let's hope we live life well and enjoy as much of it as we can. Let's see who's here right off the top. We have Jerry checking in from the Money Pit, Middle Tennessee. He was here early. He was here at 6. Give Jerry a bell for being here first and being early. Ed Cucciarella. Hello, Ed. How you doing? Glad you're here. Simone checking in from a cold and wet Britain. I'm sorry to hear that, but glad you're here. You're representing Britain currently. Terry Keithley, good evening all, and Barry. Please hit the like and thumbs up button. Thank you kindly. Yes, thank you, Terry. Let's see. Mr. Mikey, 1949, sunny and dry in Texas. I don't know if he meant to put ma'am. Good evening. Good evening. Nobody's called me ma'am before. Okay. Rick Gain checking in. Hi all. My condolences to all the Mustangs lost in the hurricane. Yeah. I mean, we can talk about such things. I know that there's been loss of life, obviously loss of housing and jobs and all kinds of stuff that just obliterated. And you probably have seen there's been some pictures on the net of, I think, a 69 Daytona and a 70 Superbird that were, one was flipped over out in the middle of this guy's driveway. And pictures that I've seen where he actually had 4 of these things. So he had 2 of them on the floor level, and the other 2 were up on lifts, like he had 4-post lifts. And from what I understand, the two that were underneath, he got out of there and took them somewhere. Where, I don't know. I don't know if they were safe or not. And he thought that the other two that were up on top were going to be okay. And they weren't. The waters rose and they floated. They floated off the lift, apparently, and one of them got turned over in the process. So they were out in his driveway. And I hopefully, he gets in. They looked amazing. They were fantastic cars. So I'm hoping that whether he has insurance or not is secondary. If he can save the car, obviously, that's the trick. So, yeah, and any other the classics that get lost in the process. It's always sad to see that, whether it's a hurricane or a tornado or earthquake or anything, that sort of thing. But the priority really is people. We've got to be careful of keeping ourselves safe in these type of things. And it's sad to lose vehicles like that, but there's a lot of stuff going on. That's rough for everybody down that way. And of course, I know it went over to South Carolina. I don't know how bad they got hit. I haven't seen any updates on that. But anyway, let's see. Rick's talking to Simone. Hope all's well across the pond. And Troy, good evening, gang, from a fall-like coastal Georgia. You can update us, Troy. I don't know if you got any bad weather out that way or not. I don't know. It looked like the storm kind of snaked around and went up to South Carolina. So, Rick Stevenson, good evening, everyone, from a cool and comfortable Jacksonville, Florida. Well, I hope everything's good your way, Rick. I don't know how bad Jacksonville got hit, but I'm glad you're here and checking in with us. Roger checking in from next door. Glad you're here. And Robert, evening all. Fall is here for a few days. Looks like we may stay under 90 degrees this week. Whew, that's something. When you can say, looks like we may stay under 90 degrees. That's still hot. But I'm sure it's a big improvement over what you've been experiencing. So glad you're here, Robert. Nandu, evening, or everyone, good evening. It kind of made that inside out on me. Thank you, Nandu. Let's see. Bob Shoemaker, good evening all. Still dry in Oklahoma, but cool. That's good, I guess. I don't know if you need it dry or if you need some water, but glad you're here. Steve Grimes, evening all from a crisp South Central PA. Glad you're here, Steve. Here's a couple bells for everybody. I'm just kind of skipping through that, sorry. Raleigh Pachico, good evening from a wet and windy Virginia. Yeah, I guess you're probably getting the tail end of that storm, I assume. Simone's talking to Rick. Not too bad. Val Steckley. Hello there. Hello, Val. Glad you're here. Rich Reese checking in. Hello, Rich. Rick, 2 years ago today is when my car hit the tree. Nice that is all history now. Well, that's a good thing. Whoops, wait a minute. Yep. Jerry, right? I know. I hope I'm getting it right. Jerry. Hey, Barry, howdy, y'all. It is awesome that it is October. I can finally stop listening to Robert complain about Texas heat. Now he can get busy out in the shop. There you go. You get a bunch of bells for that. Yeah, that'll be good. Get him out there. Get some stuff done. Crash Rider, beautiful day here in southern Indiana. Be sure to hit the like button. Yes. Thank you, Crash Rider. Rick, sorry, Philosopher Dog. I know how hard that is. Yeah, it's rough, but my wife was, I'll say, more attached to the dog than I was. Good dog though. Really can't complain. We still have another dog and 2 cats. And yeah, I'm anxious for the cats to move on. I'll just put it that way. Anyway, Simone, sorry to hear that, Barry. It's difficult when pets pass on. Yes, it is. It is. Randall. Hey, from Rawlings, Wyoming. Well, I'm glad you're here, Randall. I doubt that you got any of the storm from the Hurricane Ian. Yeah, Ian. Yeah. Glad you're here. Cool Store 187. Hi, all from New Zealand. And says Hope. Okay. I don't know if that's... I know, what do they call it? Is it Cape Hope or something? I don't know. Simone, I did see the Super Bird upside down. Such a shame. Yes. Yeah, and I like I said, I hope they can fix it back up. Be a shame to lose it like that. Dawn checking in. Hello, Barry and everyone. Hope y'all are good. A friend of mine lost his boat, but his house fared out pretty well. Good news. Okay. Well, I guess if it comes down to it, if you're losing a boat, it's not so bad. But, the house takes more effort to replace. So I'm glad to hear that the house fared well. And he says that was in Cape Coral, Florida. Yeah, I know that some of the footage, of course, it's always how do you put it? Fascinating, overwhelming, disturbing. There's a lot of adverbs you can put on there, I guess, as to what you see from the damage of these storms. You can go back to Hurricane Katrina or Sandy or whatever these different storms were, and you see images and you're like, wow, look at that. I mean, the whole building's leveled, boats piled up somewhere, wreckage and debris, and just it's just a mess. And we're kind of like ants when it comes to that. You go over to an anthill and you kick it over. What do? They go out there and they just start putting it back together and trying to rebuild the anthill and pull in whatever stuff got knocked away and build it back up and just weather the storm. And that's basically what we do as humans on this planet. We get this huge storm that wipes out something, and next day we're already starting to pick up the pieces and salvage what we can and move on and start rebuilding. And so it's commendable. It's not an easy thing for everybody to do, obviously. And I know there's been different charities and fundraisers and stuff like that to try to help these people out. And I know that's really, in most cases, probably all some of us can do is donate some money and hope that it gets in the right hands, But hoping everything goes well for all of them and everything affected by this storm. Troy, we just got some wind and a sprinkling of rain. Friends in Charleston, South Carolina said they're okay, just wind and rain there. Okay. Well, I can tell you the day after the big storm or whatever, when it was working its way across Georgia, they canceled a bunch of events because they thought, well, it's going to come through and wipe stuff out. And I'm sure there was probably some damage, which would be south of us. But I know that I was actually out walking the dogs that afternoon or whatever, and I just felt like a couple little droplets of rain, like almost like a mist of rain came down, and that was it. It went back. It wasn't even really any clouds in the sky, but that was what we had, and then it was done, and then it was back to the beautiful, cool weather again. So strange how that. And you've seen it before. Like there'll be a tornado or whatever coming in, and you'll see its path, and there may be three houses together, and that tornado will come through and destroy that one in the middle, and these other two are like not even touched. There'll be stuff that is you've seen it where there's like something sitting on the back porch or whatever, and it's not even moved, a lawn chair or something. It's not even out of position, but the house between those is gone. It's just amazing how powerful that stuff is, and little you can do about it in that case. Dawn, mid-80s for the next couple weeks here in PDX. That'll be comfortable. Good. Rick, we were fortunate. Worst that happened was we lost power for 45 minutes. Well, you can't really complain about that. I wouldn't. If that's all you got, that's good. That's real good. Interesting you bring that up. Power. We all know that our entire lives are based on electricity, power supply, whether it comes from solar or, nuclear, coal, oil, natural gas, pick one. We all know that those things, we are spoiled, honestly, in this country with how much we have as far as power supply and all those sort of things. And there's other countries I've seen or read about where they might have power for a day, and then the next day it's off, and then they have power the next day, and stuff like that. And I know we've had some storms here. I know I'm getting a little bit off of a tangent, but I want to talk about this because I think it's important. We've had storms here. A few years back, we had the snow apocalypse, they called it, or whatever. And it was in the South. We don't get much in the way of snow or really cold weather. Anywhere from where we're at in Georgia to down into Florida, rarely do you get much of any kind of snowfall or anything. But we had a situation where we had ice. It was a very wet couple of days, and the temperature dropped, and it froze everything. We had people stuck on the interstate for like days because they were just driving and stopped, and then they couldn't go anywhere. But in our situation, we had ice come in and take out our power supply. Well, that's not a bad thing if you are ready for it. And we have a gas generator. I think a lot of us have gas generators at this point. But we have this gas generator, and the thing, it had some old gas in it, and I had to fight with it to get the carburetor cleaned out and get it running again. And we were able to power up and basically power up our refrigerator, our freezer, some lights, just enough to keep things moving. And then we have a fireplace with an insert, and I was able to build fires and run the fan on that insert to blow, warm air throughout the house. But I got to thinking about this, and this has been on my mind for a while. We know there's fuel problems. We can quickly run into fuel or lack of fuel for everything. We survive on fuel. So my thought was, if I have this gas generator, what happens if there's no gas, right? Because that has happened. We've had a pipeline rupture or something happened where the fuel supply was interrupted. So having a gas generator is fantastic as long as you have gas, right? And those things don't just, it might run for 8 or 10 hours on that fuel supply that I have. But let me update this. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, man. Appreciate it very, very much. So when you think about having a generator, it's fantastic. Okay, great. I've got a generator, and I've got 10 or 12 or 20 gallons of gas, and that'll last you a period of time if you run it in cycles. You run a thing, keep meat and your refrigerator stuff cold and all that. But once you run out of gas, you're in trouble. This is where I'm getting. I've actually ordered something that I'm gonna probably do a video on it, maybe on my other channel, whenever I get to that point. There's companies out there. There's one I've heard of and read up on called Bluetti. One is I think called Jackery or something like that. I can't think of the other names right now. But this company Bluetti, they sell a solar generator, and I bought one. And it's basically a battery pack and an inverter system and solar panels. And you can charge up this thing with either your house. Let's say you've got power on the house, so you can charge it with power from the house. You can charge it from your car battery. You can charge it from like a gas generator if you wanted to, and solar panels. So I bought one of those things because I'm trying to be proactive in this and think, well, if nothing else, they can't take away the sun. So I'm going to be able to use those solar panels to charge the thing up. The other thought was, because of how well this system is operating, or how well it charges, that I can take my gas generator and charge up the solar generator. So I could run the gas generator for a short period of time, charge up the battery system, and be able to power up the things that I need to in the house. It's just a good, to me, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Now, I'm trying to think of kind of worst case scenario. Like I don't have gas, and it could happen. It could happen. We all know it could happen. But But I like that idea of having at least some sort of battery backup that can be charged with the solar system or solar panels and keep it up to date. If nothing else, I want to keep my refrigerator and my freezer operational and my well pump. I want to be able to get water if I need it. So anyway, just saying, it's going to be coming here in the next few weeks. And I'll probably do a video on my workshop channel. So just so you know. Okay. And let me get back on the program here. Simone, I fixed my Rover on Saturday, Barry. I had to replace a part of the back of the engine and hurt my back in the process. 2 days of pain, but I'm okay now. Oh, wow. Well, it's hard to give you a bell for that, but glad you fixed it. Sorry about your back. That doesn't sound good at all. Terry, going to get down to 30 with frost Friday night, Saturday morning in West Central Illinois. That's, yeah, I don't want that yet. No. You can keep that. Stay warm, Terry. That's good pie weather. Pie and coffee weather. Robert, EcoFlow makes really good battery backup systems, can charge from solar panels or a generator. Pricey, but good stuff. Now, I have not looked, I don't think I've looked at EcoFlow, but Bluetti is the company that I'm looking at right now, or who I actually ordered from. So we'll see what they come up with. Raleigh had a whole house generator installed about 2 years ago, runs on natural gas, programmed to start up every 2 weeks and run for 15 minutes. That's a great idea. Simone, I need solar panels. Yeah, they have a variety of choices over here for solar panels. I mean, we can get them at Harbor Freight if we wanted to. I don't know how good they are, but we can get them there. Rick, tri-fuel conversion for a gas generator is a good idea too. Yeah, I think Robert did a conversion on I think a generator. I think he did it. Was it a generator? I want to say it was. I think he did a video on that. Troy, I have a 12,000 watt, 60 amp gasoline generator that runs my whole house. I got it after Hurricane Matthew knocked out power for 3 days. I keep 25 gallons of fuel on hand now. Yeah, and I do too. I keep gas on hand. Normally what I do, because we have the Kroger fuel points, so you accumulate that, knocks $1, if you up to $1 off the price of fuel, and we will take both our vehicles and whatever gas cans I have and get 35 gallons, fill up the vehicles, fill up the fuel, jugs, and then I use those back to store them for filling up the lawnmower and go through that stuff. You don't want to. Obviously, the fuel we have now doesn't last that long, but I try to make sure that I rotate the stock. Let's say my nose is itchy. Mr. Mikey, natural gas is cleaner burning than ethanol. Yes, definitely. Robert did the conversion on my Harbor Freight generator. If it was a Honda or Honda clone engine, they're easy to do. So there you go. So I thought you had done that. So that's good. You can probably check out Robert's video on that process if you want. Okay, other things going on. I talked about the 56 Bel Air, finishing it up and getting it out the door, and like I said, I'm happy with it. The owner's happy with it. Good to go. The next things that I need to take care of is like the Honda back here. You can see there's stuff up on the roof, back seat, and whatnot. I talked about it in one of the previous videos or previous live streams that I was going to replace the cable for the trunk release and the gas door. And so that's what I'm doing. Well, I'm getting ready to film that process. I had already kind of got ahead of it and taken things apart, and I was like, no, I should probably put this back together and film the process. That way people can see what you need to do to swap those things out, because it is beneficial. So that's going to be probably the next video in a series. And then another thing that I did, and I don't know if this will work or not. Maybe somebody else can comment on this if they've ever tried it or not. I bought one of these, a little key fob, keyless entry, and this car does not have it's got electric door lock, so I assume it's keyless entry, but I have not played or experimented with it. And this little key fob from Amazon, if I can get it open, was like $14. And supposedly, I haven't really looked at the instructions, but it has something on here about you can go to remotes.com, click programming, click vehicle, and follow the instructions. And but it sounds like you can program it to this car. So I'm adding that to that car. And then the other thing that I want to do is I'm going to replace the front rotors and brake pads. They're pretty rusty and they make noise when you drive. Touch the brake pedal and they sound horrible. So just going to be proactive, swap those out and make sure they're good to go. There's a few other things that I need to do. I know that there's maybe it may have lost some Freon somehow. I don't know how. It was working before, and now it's not. So gotta look into that, see what's going on. Rick, I have a Honda EU200 and an EU3000. I need to do the tri-fuel mod on. Kits are available. Also have a Husky to convert. I need to be prepared. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. Don, my brother lives off the grid. Solar with large battery pack and a diesel generator, well, water, wood, stove, and propane heat. That's awesome. And it would be nice if we could do that. I don't see it happening for me and my wife at this point, but it would be nice. Ideally, I'd like to, well, we both talked about it. We'd like to move over to Alabama, buy 5 acres somewhere and just exist over there, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Probably not. Rick, on a Honda, you hit the lock 5 times with door closed, then hit the lock on the fob, and it programs a new fob. Okay, that's good to know. I'm gonna follow the instructions if that's whatever it says in this pack is what I'll do. But I didn't know that you could do that, so thank you, Rick. Wait a minute. There we go. Terry, sorry to bring it up, but is it still around? Yeah. Yep, it is. It is. So much for somebody telling me they were going to come get it at the end of summer. I knew that, though. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I already knew that. I've been lied to for years. Yeah, not surprised. Simone, good night all. I'm going to sleep now. Have a pleasant evening. Yeah, thank you for being here, Simone. I hope you have a good evening. Get some rest. I hope your back feels better. And Roger says good night, Simone. Yes. In fact, Terry, what I was gonna something else I was gonna mention. I'll show you here in just a second. I bought something, another product off Amazon. The It car came here with the factory 14-inch wheels on it, and the situation was those tires went flat pretty quick. So I put some of my tires and wheels on this car to move it around and work on it. And now, if somebody comes and gets it out of here, I don't want it to leave with my tires and wheels on it. You know, I don't want that. So I ordered some inner tubes. I ordered some 14-inch inner tubes, and I'm going to try to either I'll put them in or I'll get somebody else to put them in the factory wheels for that car, so that when it leaves here, it leaves with the 14-inch wheels I came with. So I don't want to give up my stuff. I don't. No thanks. So hopefully we can make that happen. Randall, we installed solar a few years ago, and our power bill is like $11 a month. Well, that's pretty cool. But what was the cost? What was the upfront cost? That's the big question. You know, what did it cost to get there? Is the big, I guess, a trade-off. I don't know. I've not really looked into it very much. All right, so Rick says good night, Simone. Simone's giving a wave. Mac, Dude, that's not a first generation Camaro behind you. Yeah. Yep. You're right. And I know you're kidding. That's fine. Yeah, this is a little Honda Civic that I rebuilt, and I've got to do a little more work to it to make it more sellable, let's say. Yeah, Terry says I don't blame it. Yeah. Why would I give up my good tires and wheels for, Yeah, Ed, I know the 14-inch wheels may not fit over the. I know that, and I at least can put the I don't. I'm trying to remember. It has the Willwood brakes on it. I think. I don't know. I'll find out one way or another. Because I never did put the calipers on. At least I don't think I did. I know I didn't put them on the back. So we'll find out. Unless he's going to pay me for my tires and wheels. Because, that's the way it should be. If you're going to, I'm not, I'll take them off and let it sit on a trailer. I don't care. Terry and I can pick it up if you like. Yeah, I've had several offers for that, for people to come get it and make it go away. I don't know. Max says 15-inch usually the minimum that I found. Yeah, I'm hoping I can get the 14s on, at least on the back. Get 2 of them on there. I don't know. It's just bleh. Robert, I know where it is, and I have a trailer and wheels. Yeah, I bet you do. Oh, speaking of projects and things that need to be worked on or may get worked on, I know I've mentioned before, I'm still trying to get AMD to kick in these panels for the Camaro. And if they can't, or if they won't, maybe I can talk them into giving or selling them to me at cost. And then I would probably just go pick them up. Their facility is about an hour and a half north of here, which, by chance, my wife and I went up. It's in Gainesville. My wife and I went up there this past Saturday. We spent the whole day Saturday up in Gainesville. And we were there for our youngest son doing a powerlifting competition. Now, I can tell you that when I was young, I'm still pretty strong, but I can't do what he's doing. I've never been to a powerlifting competition before. I don't know if anybody else here has, but it was a long day. We were there all day trying to get things done. And he ended up finishing second in his weight class, so that's cool. First competition he ever did. And I can tell you that my son is 158 pounds. That's what he weighed in at, 158 pounds. To give you some perspective, I'm like 205. I'm thick, but he's 158 pounds. He did bench press. Now, he's done higher numbers on some of these, but in this instance, he did a bench press of 308 pounds. 308 pounds. He did a squat. His best squat was 440 pounds. My ankles don't bend far enough for me to do that. So 440 pounds. And then his deadlift, 474 pounds. Yeah. And he weighs 158 pounds. He's about 5'9". So anyway, that's what we did Saturday. We spent the whole day up there. But I contacted AMD, a representative of AMD. I said, hey, I'm going to be up that way if your shop's going to be open. And they said, oh, we're not open on Saturdays. I was like, oh, man. I could have made it a trip and gotten everything taken care of at one time. But I didn't. So we'll see what AMD has to say. Terry says, yes, we can do it, Ed. Yes, sir. Don's Manufactory. Unless he's going to pay me for Fat Chance Department. Yeah. Bob, yep, you gave up enough already on that. I know I did. And it's supposed to be gone. but it's not. Rick, the owner is, yeah, you did such a nice job in the car. I'm sure he would be kicking himself at some point. Yeah, he's probably going to be doing that. So, yeah. Yeah. And that's, yeah, his loss. Gary Hamlin, some Willwoods clear 14-inch rims. I have American Torque Thrust on my 64.5. Okay. Well, I know that the wheels I have on are 15-inch. So I'll look at them and see if I can't get the 14s on. I'm going to try. I'll tell you that. Max is awesome. Yes, thank you, Mac. Rick, ice cream cone time for me. Oh, well, that sounds good. That sounds real good. Harvey checking in. Hello, Barry. Enjoying your show from Soggy, New Jersey. Okay. Well, sorry it's soggy, but I'm glad you're here, Harvey. Troy, 14-inch will fit the caliper. It will fit if the calipers weren't put on. If they're on, you can try to put the wheels on backwards if it's only being transported. That's a good point. That's a good point. In fact, since you mentioned that, that was something I had to do on the red Dave car, because the rear end that I have in it is narrow. It's like the earlier model rear end, and I had to do something. I had to put the wheels on backwards or something to make it roll, so I could get it where it's at. So yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Troy. Here's something else that's come to mind, or come to the forefront, let's say, of things I can work on. Obviously, I've got the Honda. There's still a few little things to do on Jade. I should be having a 69 fastback coming to me very soon, maybe by the end of this year. We were kind of in limbo on that because we weren't sure about the Camaro. Wanted to get the Camaro taken care of so that nothing else was in the way for the 69 to get here. Okay. Since I don't know what's going on fully with the Camaro, and I don't want to use the panels that are on it necessarily, I really don't. There's a friend of mine who has a new Bronco. And when I say new Bronco, it's a new body. And it was put together by somebody up in Tennessee. And apparently it's a pretty good shop that builds these things. And he's asking me to paint the Bronco. I think y'all know I don't get super excited about painting. I'm just not. I can do it. It turns out good, but I just stress over it. But the thing is, this vehicle, it's all new panels. It's a brand new body. It's a whole new tub. And they've already fitted everything. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe I can do that. Because it wouldn't take, there's no engine, no transmission, nothing in it, no seats, no wiring, no glass. It is just a tub. And that's a lot easier to deal with than a full car. And he just wants it painted, and then he'll finish it. And so we're talking about that and seeing if I can't make that happen. It would be on a roller chassis. And I think he said the shop that built it will undercoat it and everything. So not even worry about the underside at all. So I'm really kind of toying with that idea. I think that might be I'm sure it would be a good video, or video series, let's say, because I probably wouldn't do it all in one video. I'd probably have to do several, making sure that if there's any fitment issues, body filler has to be addressed, and primers and all that sort of thing. So we're mulling it over right now. Like I said, especially since the Camaro is kind of gone back into limbo mode. But it would be nice to do something like that. So we'll see. Greg's Workshop says, "Hi Barry, how you doing? How you doing? I'm doing good, Greg. Glad you're here. Give you a bell. Whoops, wait a minute. There we go. Had a misfire on the bell." Max says, yeah, I know. You want the Camaro done, right? I know. I do too. So we can go out the door. Ray Buckman checking in. Hey, Barry and all. Glad you're here, Ray. Hope all is well. Hope everything is doing good. Okay. Also got, I got one more package from Amazon. I was moving around my Suburban the other day, and I noticed the wiper blades were bad. If you've ever ordered wiper blades off of Amazon, they come in a box like this. This thing, there's two 22-inch wiper blades in here, and you're like, what did they do? And we'll just open it up real quick to get a look and see. I've ordered wiper blades before. I forget what it was for, and these boxes, they oh, there it is. Let me find the opening. I guess they just fold them over. They don't really fold them over, they just bow them in there. So yeah, doesn't look like it does any damage to them. Pretty decent. So anyway, I've got some new wiper blades. This is some of the little things that I need to take care of. Like I talked about taking care of the Honda. I've got to do put brake rotors and pads on the front of my wife's van. It's got the shakes when you hit the brakes. You know, the rotors are shot. Take care of the wiper blades on the Suburban. There's all kinds of these little things that need to be taken care of. So let's see. Raise thumbs up. Robert, yes, I have a couple of those boxes. Yeah. Yep. Mac, Christmas stocking box. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Michael, hello all from almost frozen Rhode Island. I finally found a good set of GT40 heads at a reasonable price. Let the grinding begin, aka Chevy valves and porting. Okay. So Michael, I have to tell you, I've been to Rhode Island once, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. My wife and I went up there in 2013, and we ate at a restaurant called the Nordic Lodge. I don't know if you've heard about it. And of course, you live there, so you already know the food and all that stuff. But we went to this place called Nordic Lodge. Fantastic. I know it's not cheap, but we saw it on a restaurant program one time, and it was all-you-can-eat seafood and steak and vegetables and homemade desserts. And back then, it was like $75 a head to go there. And we checked today, it's like $125 to eat there. But it was a cool place. So give a bell to Nordic Lodge in Rhode Island. Terry Keithley, I saw somewhere that Dynacorn makes the early Bronco, or maybe it was AMD, not sure. There's a few companies out there. I think Dynacorn's doing it, but I really don't know. I don't know who makes a good, or who makes the best version of it. I don't know. I haven't looked into it that much, but I'm pretty sure Dynacorn is, if nothing else, selling all the parts. And that's kind of what he did in this instance. He just had them order all the new panels, and they have a jig set up, and they put it together. So it's gonna be a brand new Bronco body, basically. Don says that's cool, Michael. Yep. Mr. Mikey, have you ever done epoxy primer in parts, i.e. roof, then hood or trunk, different times or days? I have done epoxy like that. I've done a fender by itself. I've done, body panels, deck lid. I've done it like that. I haven't had a problem with it. Usually what you deal with in epoxy is you've got a time, or let's say a time window. And what they want you to do, if you're going to be spraying epoxy, they want you to top coat it or coat it with the next layer of whatever within like 4 days, typically. You have to read the can and see what it says, but it'll say top coat within 4 days. If you don't do that, you have to scuff it. Break the surface, scratch it up, and then spray your high build or whatever you're going to put on top. So I don't have an issue with putting epoxy on and letting it sit for an extended period of time, whatever that may be, while I'm doing other things. So yeah, I've done that. Good question, by the way, Mr. Mikey. Good question. Robert, we'll be heading to Cleveland Thursday to really cool off for a few days. Slim chance I may go to the Eastwood store. Well, that would be interesting. Maybe make a video. You could go in there and say, look at this. Here's something I can't buy. Here's another thing I can't buy. Here's something else I can't afford. That's usually how it is when I go to Summit. Here's something I can't get. Here's something oh yeah, I can't get that either. Here's my wish thing over here. Can't touch it. So, but I hope you can make it there. That would be cool. So anyway, that's what I've been rolling around the idea of doing the Bronco. Um, he has mentioned that I think he wants to paint it green, and he had mentioned possibly painting it the same color as Jade, which is green. Gulfstream Aqua is more technically green. Green. Just yeah. Okay, Dawn. Hey, Michael, check out Charles Servideo porting. He did a whole series on GT40 and GT40P heads. Thank you, Dawn. I'm sure there's good information out there on that. And Max says, slim chance, you say, to make it to the Eastwood store. Yeah, I don't even know where it's at. I mean, I must be in Cleveland or somewhere thereabouts. I had to bypass the coffee today because I had leftover Dr. Pepper from Hardee's. I've determined that, given a choice, I'll drink Dr. Pepper over Pepsi or Coke or anything else. Dr. Pepper is the way to go. Made by a doctor. It's got to be good, right? It's healthy. It's good for you. It's a tonic from a doctor. Okay. So what else is going on out there? What's everybody working on or trying to get done? I know, Jerry, I don't know what the status is on your car right now. I know the last we talked, you were getting the machine work redone on the car. So I don't know how that's gone, if you got that processed yet. I hope it's gone well. And Robert, I know you with the temperature dropping, hopefully you're able to get back out in the shop and get some stuff done on your car as well. I haven't seen. We got Troy on here. There's another one. What was his? Can't think of the name right now. He's here in Georgia. He's just north of me. Doyle, hey, all making progress on the olds. Got the roof blue. Oh, the old lacquer paint off that was blue. Okay. Surprisingly, they did the roof right after they removed the vinyl top. I could send pics if you want. You can if you want. That's fine. Have you done more with the bodywork on the quarters? Well, like I said about spreading the filler out wider and trying to feather out the edges. Have you done any of that yet? If you have any pictures, that would be great too. I think even in the video that I show for the opener and the closing on this series, on this live stream, it kind of shows that process to where I'm sanding that panel, and you can kind of see the whole section is spread really wide as far as how far the feathering of the body filler goes. So you can probably see it in that. Brian saying, Michael, be careful porting those GT40 heads. As I understand, there are a couple places easy to get into the water jacket. Thank you, Brian. Good point. Because that would be really bad. You don't want to do that. Rick was going to start restoring the Jeep, but life is getting in the way, and I may have to sell it. Sorry to hear that, Rick. Doyle, not yet. Trying to get it all to same stage. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, that makes sense. Robert, I'm figuring out what direction to go and what to order for the next phase of work. Either more body and paint or suspension to get it mobile. Okay. Well, any one of those is going to help, but I understand where you're coming from with that. Oh, speaking of if you, Max says I have to address a fuel leak on the 55 carbs. That's never fun. Chasing down a fuel leak. I run into that many times. You get something that just, no matter what you do, it seems like, why is it still doing that? I done this or done that, and it gets very frustrating at times. But what I was going to say, if you saw the little thumbnail for this video, right? A little thumbnail for the whatever whatever you call it, for the live stream. That is a 1929 Model A pickup. I say pickup. It's got a stake bed on it, but apparently that is a 29 Model A, and they called it a tonner, like rating at a ton. What's interesting, I say it's interesting. I know the owner of that vehicle, and he was from Kansas. He lives here in Georgia. He's over 80 years old, and that truck, he learned to drive in that truck, which I think is amazing. And I helped him. He towed the truck to Georgia from Colorado, I think. It was in Kansas. It went to Colorado, and then he brought it back here. So I helped him put that truck back together. He needed help, and I helped him. And then he had it painted, and it was used in one of his grandsons. Grandson had a wedding or something, and he used it. But the guy, like I said, he's 80. I want to say 82 or something years old. Still gets around. Still pretty spry. But yeah, the headlights. Yeah, Robert. Yeah. Interesting headlights on the A truck. I like the trucks over the cars. Yes, those headlights he put on there as a just he had to. They wanted to use it for a wedding. He didn't have the right headlights for it, and he was like, I got to get this done. He just threw those lights on there just so they could drive it in the evening. Anyway, he wants to sell that truck. Yeah. The truck is rust-free. It has dents all over it. I will say that. I don't think there's a straight panel on it, but it's all rust-free. Some of those dents he put in that truck when he was young. And he's asking me to look for somebody who might be interested in buying that truck. And so I'm going to try to help him sell it. He said that none of his relatives are interested in it. I'm half tempted to buy it from him for myself, but I don't have anywhere to put it. But I'm probably going to try to help him sell that truck. And so the reason that picture is up there is because today, well, he had contacted me a few weeks ago and said, hey, could you come down here and help me fire this thing up? Because I'm worried about it, leaking gas and whatnot. So I said, okay. I went down there this afternoon, and we pushed it outside, played around with it a little bit, got it running. And that's all he wanted to know. He wanted to make sure it still ran. And so we had it running, and he said he's going to sell it because he can't keep up with it anymore. I know. So anyway, I'll be trying to track somebody down that may want to buy that thing. But it needs to go to somebody who's a Model A fan, and would probably want to keep it the way it is, because it's in great shape, but it's got dents all over it just from life. Doyle. Okay, you want to get everything in the right same stage so you can epoxy the whole body at once. Yeah, that's a good plan. That's a good plan. And Mac, it is a pain talking about leaking carburetors, definitely. And we talked about the headlights. Mac's talking to Doyle. Greg says, yes, very nice truck. Yes, it is. Brian, update. Got the parts car to start with the key switch, which is a big plus, moving things around, getting ready for winter. Had been hot wiring it. Well, that's a plus. I mean, using the key is definitely a lot better than hot wiring something. I'd go with that. Much better. Troy, working on the front passenger side frame rail. I cut it open so I can clean it up and weld up one of the nuts for the bumper bracket back in place. There is rust, but surprisingly not too bad. Okay. Yeah, I have videos on that process. Yep. The kits, at least the kits I had worked really well for that. Rick, what is he asking for it? Well, that's a good question. Probably about $10,000. That's probably the price. It's a really solid truck, and he built a whole new bed, replaced all the wood on the bed, There's beams on top of the frame rails that support the bed and all that stuff. So I don't know what they're honestly bringing right now, but 10 grand is probably the number he's needing to get it sold. So, but it's a Model A tonner, they call it. Tonner, I guess is how they spelled it. Robert, if it were my truck, I'd leave all the dents in it and drive it. Would love to have it. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. I would not want to fix, I wouldn't fix anything on it right now. He converted it to 12 volt, so it's negative ground like it should be. It has all new bed pieces. All the wood is new, and then I think he put a new wood floor in a because they had a wood floor in them in the cab. So he did that. Kind of one of the neat things. He didn't have a seat for it, and whatever happened to the seat, he doesn't know. So he was asking me for help coming up with a seat. I think he wanted me to build one for him, and I said, wait a minute, go find an old school bus and get the seat out of an old school bus. And he was like looking at me, and I said, it's almost the exact same width. You can have a bench seat in there, just use an old school bus seat. So that's what he did. And that's what's in it right now is a school bus bench seat. And you would think it was made for it by the way it sits in there. So it's kind of cool. Rick, my grandfather had a Model A. Now, did he have a Model A truck or car? Because Model A covers a lot of, different versions of it. Then you got the coupe and the sedan and the rumble seat and all that stuff and all kinds of variables. Max says dents just add character. Yes, they do. Terry Keithley, that's a Walton truck. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Let me just pull that up. And it is a 29. So what's different is a 29, a 28 and 29 was a rougher vehicle, let's say, than the 30 and 31. The cab is all flat in the back, has that little back window in it. The grill shell from 28, 29 is basically the same. 30 and 31 are similar, but they are different. And 30 and 31 is a little more, let's say, a little more smooth, like the cowl where the windshield frame meets the cowl. This one you can see it's a blunt stop. It's just a straight edge there where the cowl and gas tank meet the windshield frame. But on the 30 and 31, it's a smooth transition. They actually kind of made it a little more aerodynamic, let's say. But yeah, it would be a great truck. Crash Fighter question: did you torque the suspension bolts on the gasser after reassembly? Just curious, as it could be a possible reliability issue if something should happen later. No, I didn't. Now the car's not ready to go yet. That can still be addressed. We could easily check all that stuff. So that's a good point, though. Thank you, Crash Rider. Make a note of that. Rick, he had a truck when he lived in Pennsylvania, which is why I'm interested. Would he trade for an 89 Wrangler? No. Not at his age. He's like I said, he's like 82 years old. He's getting ready to sell that truck. And he's got like a 2014 or 13 Ford Ranger that he's going to be selling as well. And so he's actually asked me to repaint the roof on that car because the clear coat's coming off on that truck, on the Ranger. So I may be taking care of that for him, and he's going to sell both of those trucks and be down to just one vehicle for him and his wife. Doyle, photos sent if dents add character, then my Cutlass was a rock star. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they haven't come through yet. Yeah. Mac is chuckling. Brian, when I was a child, we had a 29 International we used to haul wood. Looked very similar. Yeah, this truck, he's got some great stories on this truck because not only did he learn to drive on this truck, but he was very young when he was driving this truck. and he was saying that his dad would have him. It has a two-speed. It has a transmission with a two-speed gearbox behind it, high-low range. And he said his dad would put it in low range first gear, which is like negative 3 miles an hour. It was like it would barely move. But he would sit on it, and his dad told him to steer it, and he would tell him to aim towards that tree, and he would drive it towards the tree, and his dad would be on the back throwing off hay bales to the cows. And so he has some really great stories with that truck. Troy, my wife would love that truck, but I have nowhere to park it. Too much crap already. Yeah. Well, I told him it would probably make a great prop for a restaurant or something. You know, I hate to see it parked outside all the time, but who knows? I would hope that whoever gets it will keep it the way it is, or fix it up even more by getting smoothing out the dents. But I'm with you on the character dents. Whenever I first saw that truck, it was painted like green, and I kind of wish it would have stayed that way because I thought it looked cool. But he wanted it black because that was what it was when he drove it. So that's what he did. He got it painted. Somebody else painted it black. Mini truck and medic, sweet truck. Yes, it is. And Mr. Mikey, parade truck. Yeah, it would be an awesome parade truck. You're right. And so that's a Maxxis too. Yeah, it would be in that case. The difficulty with any of that is for where do you store it? You got to have a facility that you can park it inside, or a shop or a garage or something. And I can get one vehicle underneath the Camaro on the lift, but that thing, it's a pretty good sized vehicle. And you'd have to move it in and out every day to try to make it work. So Doyle has sent me some pictures, and I'm going to pull those up real quick. We got the roof on his car, and he's trying to get it, prepped up and ready to go. And that it doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad. So there's a roof shot and another shot from the rear. Yeah. That looks pretty good. Doing a good job. Mr. Mikey, yeah, Jay Leno's Garage. Yeah, that would be nice. I don't think Jay's going to be interested in it, but that would be nice. Michael, local machine shop, will be cutting new small block Chevy valves and 3/8-inch rocker studs. I will be doing a gasket match and blend, hoping for a 100 horsepower gain or close to it over the 289 hypo heads. Okay. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Give you a bell for that. Mac looks pretty good. Doyle, yes, I agree. And Mini Truck Medic, let's Leno's jail. I'd drive it, not look at it. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Jay Leno, that's one thing I appreciate about him is he drives just about everything as far as I know, probably everything he has. And that's just amazing to me. When I see him pull out some old Stanley steamer and fire it up and driving down the road with a boiler running, I love it. I love it. And there's not a lot of people out there that are willing to do that, or are willing to get their hands dirty making it run. And that's one thing Jay Leno has always done. He gets in there and gets his hands dirty, and he understands how the things operate and what it takes to keep them going. So I really do appreciate what he does with those old cars. I think most of us should appreciate that. Let me think, what else was there that's going on? Honda. Yeah, I think it's about it. I'm going to probably call this a short night. Today was, like I said, not a great start to the day. Having to take care of the dog, so things are just a little bit out of normal. So anyway, I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm ready to go. I'm getting hungry. Let's see. Mini Trucking preserves history. Yes, he does. Yeah, he does a great job with that. He does a great job preserving the history of those vehicles. And if he can't find the part, he has it made, which is even better in most cases. So I try to see what he's got going on when I get a chance. And I told people before, I would quit whatever I'm doing to go work for Jay Leno. I don't think he's hiring, but I would. Just be around those cars. Just be around those cars. Robert says, night all warmed up leftover ribs for dinner. Oh, thanks, Robert. Yeah, thanks. Okay. I'm going to get in the house, get something to eat. I'm glad everybody was here. I like the input. I like the questions and answers. We try to get, moving on these things. I like hearing people getting stuff done, finding time to get work done on their projects. That's fantastic. I'm going to be, putting out another video, like I said, on the Honda, little things, trying to get some stuff done around here. And if I can get anything going with the AMD parts, I will. And then we'll consider the idea of doing the Bronco. I have one other comment here from Days Life. Barry, for your Camaro build, you should check out Amazing Metalworks. He's giving out great tips to build Camaros with parts. Okay. Thank you for that, Days Life. Appreciate it. All right. That'll be it for tonight. I'll be back next Monday night at 7. And we'll see what we can get done between now and then. Hope you have a good week, good weekend. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.